What's up, everybody? CJ here with Proximity. I got my boy Wes in the building, and we are at Attend Growth 2024. And I just wanted to take a couple minutes because this guy right here, he's local in Houston,
Yeah.
and he's one of the big players here in the real estate game. Wes, you want to tell me a little bit about what you do?
Appreciate it, my guy. Appreciate it, CJ. What's up, guys? It's your boy Lee West, aka Mr. House Guy. So coming to you live, like we said, at 10 Growth 2024. I am a real estate investor here in Houston. We run a wholesaling, fix and flip, and a creative finance operation here out of Houston. So always looking to connect with like-minded people, just to share our story, our journey, any way that we can help you guys that's trying to get into the investor space and just learn about, growing in real estate. That's what it's all about.
I got a question, man. What
Yes,
are
sir.
like, and let's just talk. Let's bring it current, right?
Okay.
2024, brand new year. Real estate was a little tough for everybody in 2023.
For everybody.
What are some things that you feel that you've been able to pivot and make work and kind of continue to not only survive but thrive in this market?
Absolutely. So every year, my partner and I, shout out to Kurt, we basically do an assessment on our business on an annual basis. And coming out of 2023, one of the biggest things we focused on coming into 24 that we knew was going to be very, very important is getting more efficient and effective. And so a lot of times people, coming to events like this is so important, networking with guys like CJ and other high level individuals, because a lot of times you get a lot of misinformation from people that are in business. Now, one of the biggest things you guys may hear in real estate and real estate investing and running a real estate operation, I'm sure you've heard it, is, hey, if you want to make more money, put more money into marketing, right?
Yeah.
That's the easy Band-Aid that people talk about.
Blanket.
But that's the blanket, right? But what happens when you put all that money into marketing, but you don't have the support staff, the people, the systems, the processes in place to be able to handle all those leads? Now you're just wasting money, you're throwing away leads, right? So our biggest focus coming out of 2023 and 2024 is how do we make more money without spending an additional dollar within marketing, right? How do we capitalize on the leads that we have? And the biggest hole that we had in our business was really systems and processes. So really trying to get that dialed in so that our processes with our team and our systems, how do we get this to the point where we have less human error, less human input, so that all these processes can be streamlined so we can maximize the leads that are coming in and not just throwing away dollars or, just like you said, just putting a temporary Band-Aid, just put more money into marketing.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, you got your CPA license, right?
I don't have my CPA license, but I am a former accountant.
Former accountant.
Former accountant.
So I wanted to ask you, coming
Yeah.
from that accounting background, how has that helped in your real estate career?
I would say the biggest thing with accounting, it is boring.
Definitely, guys.
Accounting
Don't
is
get
boring.
into it. Just let us do it.
It is boring. It's boring as hell. We actually have CPAs for our company. We don't even want to touch it.
Yes.
But I would say, if anything, the biggest takeaway from the accounting world is attention to detail. Attention to detail, right? And
That's so
so
important.
when you're running a business, and just like with your high level business, buying and selling businesses, everything is attention to detail.
Absolutely.
Looking at the P&Ls, looking at the T12s, the trailing statements, all of these different things, the operations of a business is going to truly tell you the story. Because a lot of times you talk to business owners, they're telling you, hey, yeah, we did $2 million last year. But then when you have that attention to detail, you're looking at those P&L statements and you're looking at the balance sheets. Now you're saying, hey, it's really telling a different story.
You can tell who's BSing you or not.
100%. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't have attention to detail.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I actually read an article that accounting field is increasing in demand because the Gen Zers are not interested at all
Not
with
at all.
numbers.
It's
and
not
details.
sexy.
Not sexy at all. But it is the lifeblood, the engine of any business. Any business. I like that, man. Let me ask you. Oh, well, you know what? But before letting me do all the questions, obviously, Mr. West and I have ran into each other at a lot of events, right? But I don't think we've ever really been able to sit down and just kind of talk about the wholesaling businesses stuff.
Absolutely.
So I don't know. Maybe you have some curiosities, and I'd love to be an open book for you as well.
Yeah, I say I think the first thing that comes to mind when wholesaling business for people that are getting started into it, right? I have absolutely no idea what that process. I understand the concept of it,
Right.
but for like, if I was to get into the business, into wholesaling businesses, where do you even start from just someone who's just like cold? Obviously, I know it's so important whether you're wholesaling businesses, real estate, whatever, starting with education. But what would you say is kind of for people that may be questioning that, or even for myself, how do you even start to value a company? How do you even know like what to even offer?
Right,
You know,
right.
how do you start there?
The offer, the magical offer. So guys, and I should be charging y'all for this, right? But we have a formula. So let me ask you, what's the formula for your max allowable offer for real estate? Generally, just generally.
70% of ARV minus
ARV
repairs,
times
minus
70%.
minus your profit
Minus repairs,
or
minus
your
your
wholesale
fee.
fee.
So I actually created my own proprietary formula that actually mirrors the wholesaling real estate formula. People told me it wasn't possible, but I made it happen.
Okay.
It's APV times 70% minus your fee. APV, ARV is what?
After repair value.
After repair value. Once the house is fully fixed up, what can it sell for, right?
Okay.
APV is the after professionalized value. Once I professionalize a company and there's, as you said earlier, systems, automations, team in place, everything can run on autopilot, right? Now you've reached your ARV, your APV of the business. So once you find your APV, you multiply it times 70% because we got to leave a little bit of meat on the bone for the buyer, right? So once we do that, we're going to take it times 70% and then minus your fee. I teach all the students to make $100,000 minimums on your wholesale fees. So we're going to do APV times 70% minus 100
minimums.
Six-figure minimums, guys. And the crazy thing is everything else is the same. As a wholesaler, as a real estate investor, one of the biggest determinations on whether you're successful or not is how well you can build rapport with a person, right? How well you can connect with somebody. So in my opinion, us as real estate investors and wholesalers, we have to master that. And once you've acquired that skill, you can now just simply pivot and go talk to a business owner. And I'm gonna tell you something, it's hard to believe. It's easier to build rapport with a business owner, and they are more motivated than a homeowner is, because think about the stress levels. You're a business owner. I'm a business owner. There are more stresses involved. You got people that are depending on you.
Facts.
You got revenue. You got the IRS. You got all these
Everybody.
things that are happening, right?
Yeah.
So there is even more motivation to sell a business. And unfortunately, it's still the Wild West with mergers and acquisitions. There are nowhere near enough buyers to help every single business owner in the country right now. So they are either going to go with no offer or they're going to go with my offer. And I love that. I love that, those odds.
Less competition.
Less competition.
One other question I got for you, CJ, is I think something that comes to mind now that I'm thinking about it is you start off in real estate investing, right?
Wholesaling, yep.
Very similar, right?
My first deal was $1,500.
There we go. You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And now you're doing six-figure plus deals. So what was it? Was it just for my own curiosity, was it a conversation that you had? Was it an aha moment that made you shift into saying, you know, hey, if I'm wholesaling real estate, you know, I'm grinding, it's a grind, but how can I do the same thing and make the most amount of money for the same amount of time? Like, what was that thing for you?
I think our accounting background, you know, there's a little nerd in all of us in accounting.
Yes.
And I had already passed the 500 real estate transaction mark. And by no means do I know it all in real estate at all. This is just in the residential space, right? But I had passed that mark, and if I'm being honest, I kind of got a little bored. You know, and I started seeing in 2022, I started seeing the average wholesale fee start dipping, and not just me. Like, we're all plugged in to all the players, right? So I started seeing that, and I'm like, like, try to get ahead of this here. You know, what's happening here, right? So because I'm a bit of a nerd, I started looking at how to buy businesses, mergers and acquisitions. So I really immersed myself, and I spent a lot of money on mentorships with all the big players: Roland Frazier, Carl Allen, Jay Abraham. I've done some Cody Sanchez stuff, Jeremy Harbour over in the UK, all of these people. And the concept of wholesaling literally came from a 3-day blitz on how to buy and sell businesses. That's all I wanted to do. I just want to learn how to buy businesses. But during that blitz, the guy was talking about all these different ways, and he would spend 5-10 minutes on them, right? But then he spent like 10 seconds on one, and he's like, you could get a business on a discount and just flip that paper and make a fee. He didn't call it wholesaling, but he's like, but that's boring. Who wants to do that, right? Like, it was like, and I was like, wait a minute, like,
That's what I already do.
I'd like to do that. I'd like to learn that right there,
Yeah,
sir. I woke
facts.
up and
Yeah.
but I wasn't met with the same energy. I was in a room. It was like being in a room full of like hardcore like landlords, and you're the only wholesaler in the room.
Yep.
They don't care about that, right? So I had to go and figure out like, am I going crazy or is there really an opportunity here? And here's the problem: you Google wholesaling businesses, nothing pops up. Nothing pops up, man. Google's going to talk about e-commerce, Shopify, all of that stuff.
Yep.
And so I literally just had to go pave a way, get bumps and bruises, do all of those things and figure it out and create a little road, a pathway to the wholesaling businesses world. I mean, it was so non-existent that I was able to get wholesalingbusinesses.com from GoDaddy for $11.99.
Crazy.
two common
Crazy.
words, right?
Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, man. So nobody ever thought to put it
Try
together.
to get wholesaling houses right now.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
Impossible.
When I typed it in, I'm like, this is going to be taken because as we know, creating a domain name for real estate,
Everything.
you got to come up with something unique now,
Yes.
man.
Sell to Houston,
Yeah.
fastcashNowBuy.com. Facts, bro.
Or .net or
Yes.
.io or
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
now, right? So that's kind of how I got interested in it. I started noticing fees coming down.
Mhm.
And I started getting interested in the business world. And then when I realized that it's just completely unsaturated. When like my first appointment, the guy cried 3 times during our lunch.
Talk about
And
building
that's
rapport.
that's not like
Wow.
a slight on him or whatever, but
Yeah.
like I left that appointment, I legit thought that must have been an outlier. That must have been a one-off. I must have just got lucky on a motivated seller. Second appointment, he cried once. Third appointment, he cried twice.
Wow.
After that third appointment, I drove off and I remember thinking to myself, this is the norm in this industry. These guys are crazy motivated and have no help. Because you try to find ways to understand how to buy and sell businesses, it's becoming more popular now. But boomers, first of all, aren't privy to all the social media information, and they're just they don't know what to do. I remember I talked about an HVAC deal that I did, and I asked the guy Robert. I said, "Hey Robert, like, why don't you give this to your kids? You know, you're cash flowing, probably making about $300,000 net after everything's paid. Why don't you give this to your kids?" He said, "One of my kids is in the medical field, wants nothing to do with ACs and HVACs,
Okay.
and the other kid wants to be a TikTok star." So
Wow.
who do you leave it to?
No successor.
No successor, man. And
Wow.
that is a dime a dozen.
Mm.
Like I've held little seller banquets and stuff like that. The number of times that somebody wants to sell because they have no other options and they're looking to retire and go into their golden years is over 85%. Over
amazing.
85% of the sample size is gonna be retirement. And that's why they call it the silver tsunami, because the retirement wave is
It's
here.
about to come.
It's
already here.
already
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope I answered that question.
So you're saying that's the boomers.
The boomers.
The boomers.
Baby boomers.
Needing to get out of
Yep.
here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I did a pie chart. I kind of did some research. Out of all the small businesses owned in America, 87%, 86.8% of all of them are owned by either Gen Xers or baby boomers. And that's 55 and up. They're all right. 87%.
They gotta go.
They gotta do something. And here's the problem. This is what I say about houses. Houses are recyclable assets. Because if you lose a house, if you don't pay your mortgage or your taxes, either the county's gonna take it or the bank's gonna take it, and somehow or other it's gonna get back in circulation.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Businesses, as we know, if they close their doors, you might as well crumple up the piece of paper and throw it in the trash.
It's done.
There's no reviving the entity.
Absolutely.
There's no recyclable facet to it.
Right, that's a
right?
great way to put it. Yeah.
So they can either sell or they can work themselves to the bone so they can't lift their fingers anymore, or they can shut down.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bro, that's amazing. That's some game right there. Bro, you just blew my mind on that. So we definitely got to talk more about that,
For sure, man.
And it's great to see your success in this, bro. Being a trailblazer.
How can they find you, man?
Yeah, if you guys want to follow me or have some information about real estate investing, I'm an open book, guys. I just want to see everybody succeed. It's only fun if we're all making money, right?
Absolutely.
So you guys can catch me on socials, Mr. House Guy. That's MR House Guy. Check me out on Instagram. Shoot me a message. Shoot me a DM. You guys will see videos on there. And again, it's so important, guys, to network and go to events and meet people like CJ, because everything is about people. Everything is about relationships, buying businesses. It's not the buying business. It's the people business. Buying houses. It's not the buying houses business. It's the people business. So learn how to get out of your comfort zone. Talk to people. the more hands you shake, the more money you make.
Hey, Mr. West
what
is
it's
in
all
the
about.
building,
Let's
and
go.
proximity is power, guys. You change your proximity, you change your life.
Let's
We'll
go.
see you later.
Let's